What's up, guys? Dave Van Auken here, the Dave Van Auken Show. We kept on telling you we were going to keep on bringing back our guy, Paul, from the MMA Shark. So here we go again. It's Monday. It's a UFC Orlando fight week. A ton to talk about. Paul, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. I'm getting excited. I got one of these for you for this week.
Let's go.
Yes,
I can't
sir.
wait.
Dude.
We'll see you in a couple days, right?
Full force. The MMA Sharks are coming out in full force for this, which is awesome because a lot of the subscribers I've never met, flying from all over the country for this card. So
that's awesome.
First one I'll be in attendance with a lot of my loyal subscribers. And, I'm the kind of guy, I bought them tickets. I'm like, who wants to go? Let's go. So
wow.
Really looking forward to that.
With that being said, I didn't think I was going to start with this, but we open it up. Do you feel any added pressure to really nail this one just because you guys are going to be together, people will be drinking, hanging out, or it's another night at the office?
No, man. I mean, you saw the November I just had.
Yeah.
69 units in a month. It was crazy. I mean, I could have a bad card and we're still going to have a good time.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to have a bad card. This card's extremely bettable. But I'm no pressure. Everybody coming has been with me for years, and they've gone from $10 unit bettors to $100 unit bettors. So no pressure at all. No added pressure whatsoever. It'll be obviously more fun if we're cashing tickets all night.
Yes.
I'm not going to look at it that way. And I will say the last time I was in Orlando was Usman Edwards card, which was the worst card I've ever had in 7 years of doing this. So that is some pressure.
There you go. You got to break the curse. You're like the Boston Red Sox with the Bambino. You got to break that damn curse. I think we will. I'm with you. I've been with me living in Daytona Beach, and I'm in Orlando 3 times a week. A lot of the guys we know on the card and the fight camps from the card, and Orlando's going to be a busy week regardless because, like I said, with Masvidal show and Icon on Friday night, I don't want to – I do feel uber confident going in. I've studied this card, probably overstudied this card. A lot of the matchups, I have strong leans, and we're not going to dive into that. Wednesday we got Ben and Bananas, and I do want to kind of bring up the card, and we'll do that at a later time. But I do feel right now, Monday, I feel really strong about UFC Orlando. But before we go into that, I do want to talk about PFL that just recapped their season's over, and I do want to talk about your November. Let's start with PFL, and actually let's kind of start before a betting aspect of it, almost a conversational piece. I keep on seeing all these memes and all these posts, a lot of MMA media people, and especially, and I want your take on it because I think I'm the opposite right now of what the middle MMA media class is. They keep on saying Brandon Lockley, he was cut, he won in the contenders, they didn't hire him, and he went off to win. Rob Wilkinson, Israel Adesanya defeated him, he got cut, he wins on to win. Everyone's like, dude, this is great for the PFL. To me, Paul, I think it's the exact opposite. I think the UFC, they're kind of saying these guys aren't good enough, and now these guys are becoming their world champions. Am I off base on this? What do you think? Am my contrarian on that?
Can you imagine letting go of Rob Wilkinson and Olivier Aubin-Mercier? I mean, just look around the arena at the Hulu Theater and look at who was in attendance at that card. Yeah. Tell me that wasn't the breakout night for PFL. I've been saying, and that card, I mean, it was such a sensational night of MMA. The prelims went head-to-head with a UFC fight night, and the main card, honestly, was better than several UFC pay-per-views we've had this year. Don't get me wrong, UFC is my bread and butter, but I love PFL. And, you heard me talking up that card for months.
Yeah.
September that I was going to crush that card. And, Brandon Lockley, I'm really not 100% sold on him. I mean, he's very good. I would say Sai does not deserve $1 million for that punch or for that fight throwing 7 punches. But otherwise, the talent was there. Wilkinson, Ante Deligia, Olivier Aubin-Mercier, they all should be ranked UFC fighters. And PFL is only going to branch off even more and more due to getting these fighters and that level of talent in the PFL.
And that's where I hope, and I'm happy you said that, and I'm going to kind of ride that for the next question. I just hope that the PFL builds within. They have a challenger series, they call it, on they have it. It's January 27th. I saw it's actually in Orlando, Florida. I've been to a lot of them last year. And I just even hope even the fighters that are in this season that we just saw, they keep building these ones up. I know they went out and it's important to get a Shane Burgos every now and then, or Thiago Santos, all this stuff. I just hope they don't overpay. Like, to me, Marlon Moraes, I think he's the perfect one. They shouldn't go down that avenue. Marlon Moraes, with a brilliant career, great fighter. He's just at the end, and I hope they don't overpay for kind of veteran fighters that really can't make it in the UFC. They're like, Shane Burgos is the perfect one. If they can get their hands on a Corey Sandhagen or a Reikic, like these guys that are 30, 31, that still is right there, that hasn't kind of got over the hump. Those are the guys I think they need to get. Are you in agreement?
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Okay. And to be honest, I mean, that UFC fighter coming off a lone loss, where's the money? $1 million, you're fighting for $1 million. You're getting paid per round. I mean, PFL is paying a lot more money than the UFC right now. Yeah. So I could see some talent like Josh Emmett. If he loses this title fight, go to PFL. Go to where the money's at. Right. They're really growing next year on top of the Challenger Series, which starts in January, which is basically Dana White's Contender Series, their version of it. Yes. Very bettable. We crushed it every week last year, except for the pre-recorded week. Whatever. We all got refunded. But yeah, I mean, if a fighter's like on the cusp right now, that's where they're going to want to go, honestly.
Okay.
So some UFC fighters are getting 10 grand and 10 grand, 10 grand to show, 10 grand to win. Go fight for $1 million if you're that invested in your career. I think that PFL is going to get bigger and bigger every year as long as they can afford to do this.
Agree. And the trick is people like Kayla, or let's just say a Bubba Jenkins, or maybe kind of more veteran fighters that have been in the PFL a couple of years and they've got wins. Are they going to kind of move up to the pay-per-view? Is Jeremy Stevens and Pettis and Bubba and Kayla, are all these kind of, bigger names going to go in these pay-per-view super fights? And then are they going to be out of the regular season? So that's going to give up more opportunities for younger fighters and less, fight. It's going to be wild. I cannot wait to see 2023 what the PFL has in store.
It's going to be the domino effect. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, agreed.
I love it. I love it.
Very cool. And you always needed number two. When WWE was thriving, WCW was thriving. And if the UFC to thrive, I do think, to me, PFL is number two. And if they thrive, I think it will only push up the UFC. Let's talk about your November. You talked about off the top an incredible November. Hit on just a couple reasons why, a couple just even fights or parlays or leans just in general, though, that maybe you kind of switched in the month of November for you.
Parlays went 93% in November.
Wow.
I hit 19 out of 21 parlays in November. The average odd of the parlay was plus 205. That in itself, oh my God. There's
that's
two parlays I lost in the month. One was Carlos Candelario, which was a plus 480 parlay, and one was a finishers parlay where one of the fights didn't go the distance. Parlays went 4-0 on PFL last weekend, as you cashed on. I'm not throwing out minus 200 picks. So parlays have been absolutely phenomenal. And, 3-4 years ago, I would put out maybe one parlay a month. Now I'm putting out like 4 or 5 parlays a week.
Yeah.
Because I'm just, and I'm backing that by a smart bet too. So, I like putting them straight or, put no distance in them. And, I scale them smartly. I'm not putting all of our eggs in one basket. So
sure.
It's just been a crazy month. I mean, every card was a profitable card. Literally, there wasn't one. I had some losses on every card. UFC Fight Night Vegas 63. It took me until the co-main 65 last weekend. I was pitching a shutout until the co-main event, the Chase Sherman fight. That was amazing. So I had a guy reach out to me. That's $100 a unit. He won $6,900 in the month of November. So his $110 investment paid $6,900. And I've got guys that bet $1,000 a unit. So they're probably on vacation right now. That's why I haven't heard from them.
That's insane. That's bananas that the cool kids will say. That's crazy. All right. Well, we're going into December. Like we said, there's 3 UFC events left. There's the UFC Orlando. To me, I know Holland and Thompson is the main event, but to me, this card is it's an ensemble. I think the prelims, you can argue, is as talented as the main card. They have I'm going to throw out a fight right now that we just saw Marina Rodriguez and who did she lose to in the main event 3 weeks ago? Grotto?
No, Alexa Grasso?
Yeah. No. Lemus. Lemos.
Yeah,
So,
Amanda Lemos.
I think, that fight's good. Yeah, Grasso was just in the main event. Tracy Cortez and Amanda Ribas is a high-level. It could be a fight night type of main event, and this fight is not even being talked about. That's buried on the prelims. Of course, our Phil Rowe and Nico Price. That's a killer of a fight. Eric Andrews, Kyle Dawkis. It's so talented. It's so deep.
Dawkis and Andrews is an easy bet on my end. It's one of my more confident fights of the night. But Tracy Cortez versus Amanda Ribas, man, that's a fight. Tracy's coming in 10-1. Amanda Ribas lost 2 out of her last 5, but look who she lost to. Yep. She's a prolific killer. The split decision loss versus Caitlin Chikagian, and she got knocked out by Marina Rodriguez. So she definitely has the edge in that fight. But, Tracy's really emerging. She beat Melissa Gatto. She beat Justine Kish. She beat Stephanie Egger. So, she's really coming into this fight hot against competition.
Who else did Tracy beat? Maybe one of the hottest names in the UFC.
Yeah, Aaron Blanchfield.
Thank you.
Yeah,
huge. That's a big win right now.
Very big name. And if she could use that grappling against Ribas, she probably can win that fight. So, on Tapology, look, it's 50-50 on that fight. Right now, you got Ribas, the -130 slight favorite. I expect that to come down a little bit and it being a pretty bettable fight. But on close female fights, I don't put us into dark waters because how many go to split decisions? And that could be where this fight's headed. On the feet is Ribas, on Ribas, and on the ground is Cortez. So we'll have to see where that goes. Definitely a good fight. And, Amanda's already in Orlando, a week out. She looks ready to go.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But, this card. And what's awesome about UFC Orlando is when is the last time you remember a 15-fight card happening?
It's
never.
Crazy.
Never.
Crazy.
It's never happened.
I don't know if they planned it that way. I don't know if
nothing fell apart. You had one fallout when Brunson was out, and
they filled it up in literally hours.
Yeah,
because people are begging to get on this card. We know there's a lot of people that I know super close that they're dying for a short notice fight, but it is wild. One reason why I maybe think that they doing 15, the Amway, which is the venue for the Orlando Magic play. It's a humongous venue.
I've never been in there. I've probably driven by it, but I've never actually been in there.
It's beautiful. The technology, it's awesome. There's great food. There's great section. There's even a place called the Ozone. It's like a huge bar that you can stand. It's beautiful. And the one reason why, because, of course, let's just be honest, every people have their fans or family or sections. And like someone like Angie Hill is fighting that chick, Emily, who's from the Northeast. Maybe Emily is bringing 300 people with her, So I think the UFC wanted 15 fights on this card to really try to pack the house.
It's going to be packed. I got my tickets from Phil, who I'm a very good friends with. We bought 11 off Phil ourselves. You get the invoice, $3,500 on 11 tickets. So, the UFC is probably going to bring in somewhere between $12 and $17 million in revenue this night. So, and Bruce Buffer just confirmed for the card. That definitely is going to help the attendance as well.
Wow.
So it was originally supposed to be Joe Martinez, but now it's Bruce Buffer.
They brought in Buff. Do you know the commentary team?
It's Rogan, Anik, and Felder.
Wow.
Yeah, Rogan on a fight night. It doesn't happen often.
It doesn't. That's crazy. Yeah. This is cool. That's cool. All right, let's hit on the main event then a little bit. I don't want to say it's I don't want to say it's overrated because I don't want to come out that way. I just think it's not for as big as this card is and the kind of all the attention's getting. It's not for the main event. A lot of times there's a lot of like ABC fights, like just give me Yair Rodriguez or Brian Ortega and the rest of the card can kind of linger. This fight is a really cool, good, unique fight. It's a different type of fight we didn't think we would ever see in a weird way. But to me, it's not like grabbing me. Where are you at on this main event?
Well, the odds for one, when we first chatted, when it was announced, Wonder Boy opened -140. Yep. Now Wonder Boy is +140 and Holland is -130. So a lot of money coming in on Kevin Holland. Wonder Boy has that 5-round experience. Wonder Boy knows how to win a close fight and he knows how to win a boring fight. Kevin Holland does not know how to fight a boring fight. So, will Holland catch him early? If Wonder Boy can survive the early storm, he's probably going to have a clear path to victory in this fight. But the big question is, can Wonder Boy survive the big storm? You saw Kevin Holland getting absolutely torched on the feet by Kyle Dawkins. It ended with a no contest. Kyle Dawkins he's good. He's a friend of mine. He's from Philadelphia. His striking is not on the same level as Wonder Boy. So early in fight week right now, I give a slight advantage to Wonder Boy in this fight.
Okay. Wow. Going with maybe the dog for Saturday's UFC Orlando. And if you want to jump back on Orlando, please do. I do want to kind of talk about something we haven't talked about. I haven't even mentioned to you off air. A huge, the main event, Yuri and Glover, was one of the fights I was waiting for all year. Big rematch. Yuri gets hurt. The UFC really wanted Ankalaev and Glover. Glover said, hey, that's a tricky matchup, super quick. I'm same with you. I love Glover. I've always loved Glover. Glover said, I'll definitely stay on the card. I'll be your main event, but I fought Jan. I know how to fight him. Let's just put him. They didn't want to do that. I'm intrigued why.
I know the answer, but it sucks. Okay. Give the fans what they want in this scenario. Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira sells just as good as Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka. Muhammad Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz doesn't sell in my mind. I think it was a horrible decision by the UFC.
So why did they make that decision?
They're building up Ankalaev as the next champ. I mean, what's he, -400 in the fight?
Okay. So you're thinking, you think the UFC wants Ankalaev to win and to be the champion.
I do.
And if it's a Glover in the summer or spring, or even if it's Yuri 10 months from now, 12 months
I don't think that's ever the fight for Glover to take versus Ankalaev. I don't think that fight should or will ever happen. It's not even close. Blachowicz is
what do you think would be what's next for Ankalaev if he gets by Jan?
If it's a close fight, it would probably have to be Jan again. If not, I really don't know. I mean, 205 is stacked, so there's several options that it could be. I just don't think Glover's going to take that fight. He's 43 years old, and Ankalaev is just you saw what he just did to Anthony Smith. No one does that to Anthony Smith.
And it's funny you say Anthony Smith, because I know that in March they got Anthony Smith against Jamal Hill, which I know the UFC really likes. And if Hill gets past that, I can see Hill versus Ankalaev. They're not going to do Smith versus them. No. Also in February, a little tricky one. I know it's out of left field, but Ryan Spawn had that really high-level knockout with Dominic Reyes. Made a lot of noise. They put him in the main event. If Spawn does that again, he's kind of on the momentum. I can see him kind of getting thrusted almost like a sacrificial lamb, almost like a Jared Kinnear to Izzy. I can see Spawn versus Ankalaev.
I think Spawn needs to do a lot more. He missed weight last fight. He got the win. Obviously, Reyes is not UFC worthy anymore. That chin is just glass. Yeah. One thing, if you notice with Ankalaev, though, the first time he fought Ian Cutelaba, he was almost dead. I mean, Jan Blachowicz definitely can win this fight. Yeah. I don't think UFC is hoping for that, but it's a fight. To me, it's just as good as Teixeira versus Prochazka. Maybe not as good, but to the general public that, you're asking them to spend $74.99 in December for a card. They're not buying that card.
I know.
They're not buying that card.
It's tough, man, because this is what we do and this is what I do. And I have to talk about it after the fight, the podcast the next day. That's a tough buy for me. And the rest of the card, I really like Topuria and Bryce Mitchell. I really want to see that fight. Paddy Pimblett in the co-main event versus Jared Gordon.
He's getting no love from the odds makers. The odds makers are basically trying to tell you Jared Gordon's going to beat him. It's he's -170.
Who is Gordon?
No, Pimblett, but that's it. I mean, to only be -170 in that fight, that's a trap. There's something I'm going to have to investigate in the coming weeks there because that line is so wrong.
That's tricky. That is tricky. They moved Darren Till into the UFC pay-per-view. See if that fight goes off, and then I think it's Robbie Lawler versus Zanzibio. But
Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Robbie Lawler. Yeah, tough fight for Robbie.
It's a solid I would say 2 through 5 on the pay-per-view. But yeah, as a main event of the pay-per-view, I would not think in 2022 Von Hovich versus Ankalaev is a main event. That's a tough
Bryce Mitchell and Ilya Taporia is a better fight.
Yeah, I love that fight. Love that fight.
And even Duplessis versus Till, that's going to be a good scrap too. So,
and then there's one last main event: Sean Strickland versus Jared Cannonier.
That's a good card. Top to bottom, I like it.
I think that's a deep card. If I remember, there's a couple fights I like that on the prelims. Pretty deep.
Arman Sarukian's back on that card. Alex Caceres versus Julian Erosa. That's a fight.
That's a great fight. That's a great fight. That's
I try not to look ahead too much, but obviously I got to see what's coming up.
Sure.
But that the year-end event always impresses and always surprises. So I think that'll be 3 really solid cards to wrap up the year. I'm hitting UFC cards at 84.2% this year. I didn't have to do any marketing in November because everyone just keeps subscribing and the results are there. I mean, nobody left. So to retain 100% of my subscribers in November, chances are you watched one of our videos in the past that didn't sign up and you left a lot of money on the table, but we're going to keep printing it. So
yeah, absolutely. We'll get this podcast out there, more videos. And then hopefully during the week too, if you're around, I want to do a ton of lives or a ton of just get-togethers. Friday night also is Jorge Masvidal's Icon FC. It's going to be a crazy night. We're expecting UFC fighters galore in the building. Everyone's in Orlando.
Is Solomon Renfro still on that card?
No. Renfro got hurt.
Yeah, I knew he was hurt, but I thought he was still planning on fighting.
No, didn't make.
He was going to lose that fight anyways.
Oh, come on. No, we're Renfro.
I know you are, but he wasn't going to win that fight.
I love it.
I had Larissa Pacheco to beat Kayla Harrison.
I know. I was going to get insane. I think there was 9 of us out there.
I put it out as a 1-unit play. Guys are sending me screenshots. They made 7,000, 9,000. I'm like, dude, it was 1 unit. They're like, you're hitting fights at 90%. Why wouldn't I go harder? And wow, holy shit, what a fight it was too. That was better than any female UFC fight there has been in the last 2 years. It was
okay. With that being said, what do you think is the future with Kayla? Does she stay there? Does she try to revenge against Larissa? Does she go against the Cyborg? What's next for Kayla?
Now, so when I recorded my preview video on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere for PFL preview, I sort of hinted that Kayla was going to lose that fight. I said, she's won it 2 years in a row. She's a millionaire. She won her $2 million. She's got she's got kids, young kids. She's not training as much as she used to. That was Kayla Harrison's last fight.
Wow.
I truly, truly believe that was her. What else is she fighting for?
Wow.
How motivated was she coming in? Her conditioning looked terrible. She did not look like Kayla Harrison in that fight for a second.
Wow. I think almost a loss, maybe. I don't think she can leave on a loss.
I think she's done. I think even when she got to the position she needed to be in that fight, Pachenko answered it and reversed her and swept her and submitted her. That's that. Look at Ronda Rousey after a signature loss like that. Yes, she lost the home and came back for one more and got smoked by Amanda. Yeah, Kayla's not. Give Kayla a real fighter like Pachenko. She's losing it again. If they fight again, she's not beating her again. Larissa,
the funny part is
better and better.
Larissa's one of those. She was in the UFC. She was in there too early. You can just see her body. There's like a great picture of her like striking a pose then to now. Dude, she's a different fighter. Like there's so many fighters. Give them 4 years, 5 years of training and experience and in the gym. They level up. And I think Larissa is a top-notch fighter. I'm really happy. It looks like she's getting the credit she deserves because I do think she is one of the best fighters in the world, one of the best females.
You put her in the cage with Amanda Nunes next week, she beats her.
Woo! How about Juliana Pena?
She beats her.
Wow.
She's on the top pound for pound right now, female. She wins it.
So any 135 to 55, you think Larissa's the best?
155, maybe not. 35-45, she's the best right now. But I think she would knock off Pena, and she would definitely beat Amanda Nunes.
Wow,
and
that's cool.
Shevchenko's too small. It's not even a conversation. So.
Right. And she can't make 125. Cannot make.
Oh my God, I don't know how she could make what she does. So
yeah.
I'm that high on her. Plus 560. If I'm putting out a full unit on a plus 560, I'm confident.
Yeah.
That's usually absolutely. A 10th unit. I'm not willing to throw away units. I worked my ass off to get to 469 units this year. So, and some of them being 1 unit plays. Just think of my win percentage.
So you're at 469. We got 3 UFC events. I would do it. Any more Fight Pass events?
Oh yeah, there's 2 more LFAs. We have Bellator on New Year's Eve, and we have Cage Warriors on Cage Warriors US versus London on New Year's Eve, and they're making some big fights on that card. So, like I told the subscribers, we're going until the ball drops.
There we go. Can I throw out? Is that 500 number out there to you? Is it attainable? That's tough.
Were we together when I hit 400? We were, right?
I think it was right afterwards, but I think we were close, right? In that,
I think I hit 400 late September. 400 to 469 was like a breeze.
It really was.
Invicta plus 8.85 units on the Invicta card. Cage Warriors, PFL, everything's just been hot. So would I like to hit 500 this year? Yes.
Yeah.
But more important to me is to just keep winning.
Yeah, of course.
If I have a plus 10 unit December, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm averaging 52 units a month though. So
right.
I certainly would love to hit that 500. I think it's unheard of. But we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna throw out a 21 unit bet just because I need to get it. So
right.
Can't do that. Work too hard to get to where I'm at.
Last question for you, even if it's a minor organization or a Bellator, of course, we talked about 3 UFCs and the Orlando card mostly. Is there one fight, or is there one angle? Is there one end new? Is there one under? Is there something that you just have these huge emoji eyes right now? Is there a big lean that you're just, hey, this is it? This is going to be maybe the last big one of the year?
Yeah. On the 10th, I have my UFC play of the year. So that's exciting. My max play is a 7 unit. I'm doubling it. I'm going to 14 units on it.
That's the pay-per-view, right?
That's our chop night. So every year we do a chop night where the subscribers and myself all contribute to CHOP, which is Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania. It's a hospital in Philadelphia. Last year, I think we raised $7,000, 75. It was a big number that the subscribers pitched in. I matched it and then some. I start the pot at $1,000, and it just grows all night. Whatever I win on the card and whatever comes in from subscribers will be going to CHOP. So December 10th is definitely a huge night for me. Last year on CHOP night, we won 93 units on one card.
Nice. Awesome.
It was the Derek Lewis Christakis card. So
there we go. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good
good one, right? I think we had 15 units on Lewis to win by KO as the play of the year last year, and it happened relatively with ease in the first round. So
yeah.
For the Orlando card, I don't think I have anything over a 4.
Okay.
With 15 fights, imagine if I'm throwing out 6 units a fight. I mean, we're risking 125 units. I can't do that. So
right.
I have 2 passes right now, and I have a 4, a couple 3s, some parlays, some 2s. So, and it's slow and steady approach.
And like I said, I really do think the UFC card is greatly matched up. It's a lot of really good matchups, a lot of close matchups, a lot of youth on it. There's a Bam Bam and RDA, but the line is so whack. That's I think the biggest line of the night. So that's a tough one to attack.
And so, Bam Bam's tough to put away.
He is plus 400.
It's stupid. There's
plus
another.
400.
There's a couple. Give Darren Elkins plus 360 versus Jonathan Pierce. That's a scary number too. Michael Johnson's probably about right at plus 230. I get that. A lot of money's coming in on Nico Price. He's minus 160 now. Phil Rowe opened up minus 120 in that fight. So
wow.
He's being bet up big time. The one that's really shocking the hell out of me is Tai Tuivasa plus 165. This dude had Cyril Gane out on his feet.
Yep.
Sergey Povich.
And Cyril Gane had Francis Ngannou. He had him 2-2 in the 5th. Francis is the champ. That is a tough one.
and I'm super excited. I have 5 favorite UFC fighters. My number 4 favorite fighter is on this card. He's a big dog on it. I don't know if he's going to be a player or not. He's a flyweight. Can you guess who my 4th favorite UFC fighter is?
Is it Schnell?
It is. It is. It's Schnell, who we had by first round submission last card at plus 1,200, and we cashed it. So, but a Matt Schnell fight is so exciting.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a dog.
Mateus Nicolo, he's got a big step up in competition, but he's a dog. He's a real dog.
Yeah.
And maybe I go with him. Maybe I don't. We'll see. A lot of fights that are not going to the decision on this card. Out of 15 fights, I think we see 8 finishes.
Okay.
What's your number?
Like it. Paul, where do people need to go to sign up? It's the easiest thing in the MMA business. There you go. The MMAshark.com. I can't sell it enough, guys. And what I love about it, it's a subtext. You text people literally an hour before the fight, 6 hours before the fight. If something,
you look at your phone and the plays come directly texted to you. It doesn't get easier.
Nothing
and sometimes it's late intel. I'm texting out the main event an hour before it sometimes.
Right.
Look at PFL last week. I had the whole card out hours in advance. So when the time's right, I'm putting the plays out. You saw I sent the Ante Delice to win by knockout at plus 120 last Tuesday. It went to minus 150. So we cleaned up for 4.8 units on that fight. And again, it was hit with relative ease. So
that was my biggest play of the card.
Well, I would hope so. It was my second biggest. So
that was my biggest play of the card.
And it was a no sweat win too.
Loved it.
The crazy thing too, the judges have been with me lately. Like, Charles Johnson is a very good friend of mine. I had a max unit play on him. Yeah. Not because he's a very good friend of mine, because I thought he was going to win the fight. I'm not sure he won that fight.
It was close. It was close.
He had his moments in the second, but he was getting crushed. The third round, he clearly won. The handshake with 4 seconds left definitely scared me in that fight, like he was conceding victory. But, a little bit of luck lately, too. I'll be the first to say, I think Bud beat Aspen Ladd on PFL.
Yeah, that's another one. I was wild on that. I really was.
Bud won the second and third rounds, hands down. Aspen Ladd looked terrible.
I know. I've been so anti Aspen Ladd for 2 years.
Everyone is. She's like
I don't see it.
Most hated women in MMA.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Like I said, once in a while it takes a little bit of luck.
Yeah,
and the judges have been really good to us lately.
There we go.
I can't tell you how many split decisions I've been on the wrong side of, and main event injuries. And once we got past August, it's been smooth sailing. So I love the money everyone's making, especially before the holidays. Make $109 investment before the holidays, and we're not advertising it, but if you're watching this, code bananas50 will get you half off the first month. I have zero promotions on the website right now. When something's this hot, I have to believe in my product and trust my price, and my price is well worth it. But, if you're watching this, congratulations. Head over www.themmashark.com, plug in that code bananas50. You're in for $55. Gets you the next 30 days of MMA.
There we go. And January's around the corner. It'll be January 14th before you know it.
Oh, we got boxing in between then. There's no off season.
Yeah, that is true. A lot.
I'm going to be heavy on boxing after December 17th till January 14th. I've got 6 boxing cards I'm covering. So tons of content. And when I have time to properly cap boxing, I crush it. So, give me a week for a boxing card. We're going to hammer it. And we got the 2 events for New Year's Eve. So
right.
It's not like baseball or football. There's no off season to this.
There is none. And
I stress this all the time, David. I'm not selling picks. I'm selling long-term profits.
Right.
There's so many touts and handicappers out there selling picks. This is a full service. So you're getting the best version of me every single week. There's times where there's 18 cards in a month. So, do the math. You're paying $6-7 a card. So I think it's a very nominal fee that I'm charging.
Totally agree. And we've said this over and over again, too. It's not just the UFCs. We just talked about it. January 27th, guys, the PFL Challenger Series is back. That's
every Friday night.
Money. The spring and the summer, of course, it's Dana White Contender Series that I know my guy Paul cleaned up on. There's Invicta FC is sometimes giving out the most money out there for free. And there's a lot of stuff out there, so much in between. And I will tell you this, I haven't even told you off air. A little birdie told me that Jorge Masvidal's Icon FC will be live betting in 2023. A lot of great stuff coming. It's going to be fun. gonna be
And
good
what
one.
I promised, I'm a man of my word. Once there's lines on major books for Icon, we're fully on deck. And that logo right there will be in the cage.
Woo! Woo!
Yep.
Jorge's gonna be like, jump on the MMA Shark.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you get lines, and I've already talked to a couple
Yep.
people. I've got some major contacts, and they're checking it out. They're following the topology, and as soon as there's line, Cage Warriors came out of beta this year. I just started doing Cage Warriors this year, and it's very, very, very profitable. I've had 4 sweeps on Cage Warriors this year. I would say out of all the leagues I cover, my least profitable, which is still profitable, is LFA. But LFA doesn't have a ton of books with it. I think like 5% of my subscribers take it. So
Gotcha.
LFA is probably up 15, 18 units for the year. And what's crazy, PFL started minus 20 units this season. But it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And that was plus 71 units. So
very true. There we go, guys. All right, guys. The MMA Shark, that's Paul. All week long, guys, in Orlando. Check out Paul. Check out myself, UFC Orlando. Jorge Mazo has Icon FC on Friday. I'll be in Orlando all week long. We'll definitely talk to you. There we go. Cash them all.
I love the cash them alls. The cash them alls are what we live for.
There we go, guys.
The method and the rounds. We cash them all.
Bananas50. Put in the promo code. Have a good night.